I need you so desperately. I know we tried to move on, even when things had gone wrong. Still you keep haunting my brain. Think I might go insane. You know, over to me. I'm so desperate. Love over to me.
Hey everybody, Lewis here, Ropeadope TV. Just relaxing, listening to some unreleased music, which may be permanently unreleased. We'll see. Ooh, Fabian. Lewis, how are you?
Good.
This is a band called the East Philadelphia Allstars, headed up by Clay Sears. We've got, man, I think Daryl Robinson.
Nice.
I can't remember who else is in the band. We'll find out. And I'm sitting here reading a rag, The Times, which
Fancy
newspaper from the UK. And I've got this crazy spread in the middle with. Hopefully that all makes sense and isn't blurry. And I'm going to read it. That's a picture of the poly seeds, Chachi, Rose Gold, Terrace Martin, and the Divine YN Vaughn. And it says, it's the album of the summer, dash, and it's jazz. A Los Angeles supergroup blow a breeze through a stuffy genre.
Wow.
You don't need a degree in jazzology for this feel-good fusion, says Will Hodgkinson. The Polyseed Sounds of Crenshaw, Volume 1, Ropeadope. 5 stars.
5 stars.
Mm-hmm. Out of 5. Just so you know. You need to take that?
No. It's Maurice Brown.
Just checking. Maurice Brown on the line.
Maurice
There
Brown.
we go. How are you, man?
I'm feeling great.
Good.
Really good.
Here we are back at Ropeadope TV, taking a decidedly casual tone. I think we've had a couple of these episodes where we were just a little tired.
Yeah.
Just, chilling out. The sun was looking through the clouds right now, probably blowing out the whole shot. But, it is what it is. It's okay. What are we going to talk about today, Mr. Brown?
We got a few things that I'm excited about. We're going to talk a little bit about Mr. RC and the Grits, all of the Grits.
RC Williams.
And they stopped by the store. So I want to hear your take-backs from that. We'll reference our schedule and what's coming up for the rest of 2017. Maybe you can foreshadow what's coming up in 2018, if we can go that far ahead.
I think we can.
And I really want to kind of dig into an album that's being released in September, White Dust. I want a Pulitzer Prize, a Ken Burns documentary. There's a few things that
we'll tie that on.
Yeah,
as we get to it.
Bring it to it.
Got it, Yusef Komunyakaa.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But RC and the Grits, we caught up with those guys in Durham recently.
Right. Well, we missed the show, the RC and the Grits show, so we really didn't get to see the whole band. But we did catch up with RC at the Sean Martin and Sput Searat show.
Yes.
Sputnik show. I'm just going to pull this one up. We're kind of in this middle zone right now, so there's some things that we can't premiere that are coming up in the fall. So I threw a couple of unreleased tracks in here, which I'm not going to announce what they are, and also some favorites from the Ropeadope catalog.
Awesome.
One picked by me, which is this one, and one picked by our director of photography, Mr. Julian Marks, bringing back a Carlon classic from Randomly Off the Wall. But this one's from Akinola Sennon. Musume record. I always like to wait for that break before I turn it down, but this is a 6.5 minute song called Quinam Beach, which is a beach in Trinidad, which we'll have to visit someday. Go see Akinola Sennon, his brother Alpha, who runs a program called Y Farm down there. Both very active in the community, bringing up kids, you know, pushing for a brighter day, pushing for the solution. In food and in music, or in music and in food. Hopefully we'll get Akinola up here to the States. It's been a challenge, but...
he'll be here. I think he's coming.
Is he coming?
In September.
Okay, good. I hope it's not the end of September, because I'm going to Japan.
I think it's in the beginning of September.
Okay, good. Well, that's not far off.
Nope.
So that'll be good. So, you know, I have lined up next a song called Dolphy's Aviary, from the upcoming record with David Cieri, Mike Brown, and Yusef Komunyakaa. I hope I'm pronouncing his name properly. Apologies if not. So this record, I posted on the website, you know, new music, because I have a new music feature and new music / so-and-so, and this time I put new music equals poetry. So this is really a poetry album coming up.
Love it.
But there's a background, right? So David Cieri, first off, Yusef, you mentioned Pulitzer Prize winning poet.
Yes.
Which is just stunning to me. We're so honored to even be able to say that, to know somebody that has that honor. But David Cieri is a composer and has scored music for the new documentary coming out on PBS in September. I don't know the name of it, but it's about Vietnam.
Right.
And it all ties together. I think that's how David met Yusef, because Yusef was in the military as a correspondent in Vietnam during the Vietnam War. So that's how they connected. But who else did you pull this up?
Yeah,
I know David is writing or composed the score for this documentary with Trent Reznor and who else? Was it Yo-Yo Ma?
Oh, let me see.
I think it is. So you'll correct me if I'm wrong. But, you know, talk about an interesting... yes, Trent Reznor, Yo-Yo Ma, David Cieri composing music for this film.
Freaking brilliant.
Or for this documentary. And someone said to me who's familiar with the project that this work will define Ken Burns, which is a really interesting thing to say, because Ken Burns has a body of work that's stunning, right? So, you know,
I can't wait.
This has got to be something powerful, and it's a really interesting thing in the time that we live in. We've talked a lot about digging for context. Right. How the internet flattens everything out, puts all the information out at once. So a lot of younger people don't have context of history. And we lose context. When we were trying to build the Eddie Palmieri story and talk about the arc of his life, there's just so much content that it was the real story was completely obfuscated. So, you know, these kind of documentaries are going to be fascinating. I mean, we had our situation with Vietnam. I remember it as a kid.
I don't.
We weren't allowed to watch that much TV, and it was a surprise to us when somebody opened a closet that hadn't been opened for a while. There was a TV in the closet. We just thought we didn't have a TV. till I was 10 or 11 years old.
Interesting.
So I suppose I missed a lot of the early footage of the Vietnam War, but we certainly caught the end of it, and it was riveting. I mean, it's you know, images are beamed into your home of just a completely different situation, and then of course we went right into Watergate. And so you know, the war was, and I went to camp with people who, you know, counselors who were either medical exemptions or basic draft dodgers.
Wow.
Or the counselors. So Vietnam was part of what we did, and I had older brothers and sisters. So I had older brothers, you know, one who went to college and then joined the National Guard, I presume, you know, to serve, but without having to go, you know, and be in the jungle. And I have a brother, but he, you know, he was on a submarine in the South Pacific throughout the entire Vietnam War.
Get out.
Yeah, and they would go under for like 3 to 4 months at a time. No contact. Fascinating.
Wow.
And we were all, when the next group of brothers, my brother Roper, my brother Kevin, you know, the question was, how long is this war going to go on? And are you going to get drafted? Like, the draft was crazy. And I had cousins who, you know, were drafted or avoided. I don't know. But, you know, you were waiting for your number.
As white phosphorus washed over of a bedroom, the sounds of war turned down to a sigh. It was one of those nights when we couldn't let go of each other. A Midwestern storm, pressing pains till they trembled in their sashes. Dolphy scored the firmament, split into bedrock. As the wind spoke tongues, we tried to answer. At first, we were inside muted chords, inside an orgasm of secrets, and then cried out, "Are those birds?" Midnight streetlights yellowed the snow. A fleeing ghost battalion cremated in the bony cages of tanks and sand dunes. Dolphy said, "Birds have notes between episodes." I could see them among oak rafters and beams, beyond the burning coal, melodious and cobweb and suck. Like false angels up there in a war of electrical wires, and bat skeletons caked with excrement. We in winding sheets of desire, as their unbearable songs startled us down.
Very tough to turn that down.
That's serious
right now,
man.
But I'm aware of the cameras here, so we'll do that. And I urge people to tune in and listen to that. That kind of sums up the whole vibe of, you know, what it was like to be here and not there, but to know that it was happening. And I think that I'm looking forward to this documentary. I think that and thrilled that we can be somehow a little bit a part of this, of telling the story of the reality of war. I think the last 2 wars have felt real in a certain way, in a way of fear, but it's not the same. The reality of Vietnam was very palpable. It wasn't over there. It felt like it was right here.
Wow.
You know, obviously not, you know, in the full sense, but there's another thing coming up. Sorry, we're gonna have to go on a little bit. This is a little taste of one of the most eclectic things that Ropeadope has ever released. And that's all you get for the taste right now. It's a record that's coming out in November. And I suggest that we all start listening to this beginning to end right now, because it'll be well past November by the time we understand it. Little Mike Mitchell out of Dallas, Texas. One of the young guns, in a sense, under, you know, from RC Sput on down, right? Plays drums with Stanley Clarke on tour. Fantastic human being, and intense with a vision. So we're going to hear some unusual.
You get to connect with just the coolest people, man.
Music from him. There's some contrast for you, I'm going to say. Yeah.
Well, I don't think it would
poetry
be.
To.
It wouldn't be Ropeadope.
I don't know. What's that?
It wouldn't be Ropeadope if there wasn't a little. What's the?
There's always a little.
Is friction the right
word?
word?
But this is a lot. Yeah. So
that's good.
You have to be fully committed to dive into the Mike Mitchell, which is not going to be his name. The artist's name is Black Dynamite.
Awesome.
And the record, I believe, is called Killing Bugs.
Debut or now?
Yes. And this is the first anyone's heard of it.
This is great.
So, it's a great thing.
Well, speaking of schedule, can I...
yeah, let's run it down.
Highlight some
Talk
stuff.
about what we've got.
So, this will be in the past, but August 4th, Angelo Moore is doing a re-release.
Yeah, it's an Angelo Moore record that was out in the past, but was, for whatever reason, unavailable, and is now available on Ropeadope.
I love that. We have some singles coming out on August 11th. We have Shante Khan, Journey to Golden Rework.
Can you just slide that down a little bit and I can see the...
Like this?
No, I want to see this for a second.
This guy?
No, this. Okay, great. Thank you.
You got it. So...
Just checking the Bitcoin price right now. That's all.
You and Bitcoin, man. If you haven't invested in cryptocurrencies... I can't go a full show
without hearing it. I have a feeling we're getting completely blown out by the light here, so I'm going to lean in.
Okay.
Because the sun is coming out.
How we look there? Got my good side? We good?
All right, great. Go ahead.
We got Jimmy Stevens coming up with Boxcar Blues. That's the 25th of August. Excited.
That's one to dig into. A really raw blues record. You know, sort of the old field recording style.
That man and his guitar.
Me and the songs, you know, the reality. And Jimmy's got some incredible passion that he's poured into this, and a story of, you know, real life in America. Enough of the sugarcoating. Actually, we can't afford sugarcoating anymore. I think we just do stevia coating in the United States, right?
It's not even sugar.
Don't stevia coat it. we can't even afford to say sugarcoat anymore. So yeah, so Jimmy's just right back to the beginning. Just a quick note: this is that Carlon track chosen by Julian, an old Ropeadope classic. Beautiful, beautiful song. If people don't know Carlon, they should dig in. All right, back to it. What's next?
Remind me of that. So that moves us to September. We had mentioned Yusuf and David Cieri, Mike Brown, with White Dust. That's coming out on the 1st of September.
Great.
Followed by, also on the same date, Takashi Suzuki. Talk a little bit about Takashi.
Takashi, a cat from Japan. I'm looking forward to meeting him. I've talked to him by email since 2009, I think. You know, he was very much impacted by the earthquake in Japan.
Wow.
And had written a really kind thing when I just, timing is everything, just, I heard about the earthquake and I sent him an email and said, you know, are you okay? And it really, you know, as he writes it, it kind of picked him back up and got him back
awesome.
in the studio because the sense of desperation and sadness around the earthquake and tsunami there were pretty serious. But now he's connected with Nia,
right,
from Atlanta Records.
Oh man,
which I introduced the two of them.
Of course you did.
Which is strange. They're both from Tokyo, and I know Tokyo is a big place, but yeah, I'm happy to be able to accidentally be in that role.
Was that at the Ropeadope Lounge that you connected them, or
no, just by email?
Email,
I don't know if they met because Nia is here in New York now.
Right. Who I met at
Tomoko,
the Ropeadope Lounge, which was great. Now, you're going to Japan coming up.
I am. My friend Tom Noguchi, who was here in the store and you'll see around social media, who has supported Jonathan Scales and Zabaduo, Charlie Wooten, Rafa Pereira, sorry. And he brings people over and supports music. Doesn't have to do it. Just a lover of music and wants to get people over to Japan. So he's, I'm going to visit him. He's awesome. Helping me get over there, and I'm sure there'll be. I'll meet Takashi Suzuki there as well.
Pretty sure you have a couple stops along the way to Japan as well. You're not taking that 20-hour flight, are you?
I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to. I did learn a little bit about geography.
Is it shorter?
Japan. Everybody's like, Japan's halfway around the world. It's not halfway around the world. It's 1/3 of the way around the world.
Interesting. Pull up my globe. Yep. We also have in September. We have a lot of good stuff. We have the Kandinsky Effect, the end of the month coming up on September 29th. We have Nathan Deshawn.
Well, let's run down. So Spud Seawright's got this whole thing coming in, right? He
sure does, man.
So he's got Nathan Deshawn Myers, a record from B. Slade. There's a Ghost Note record coming up.
Yep.
Take note of Ghost Note.
Spud Seawright.
I know I'm missing. Oh, and an Andy Waddell record coming out as well. So then also we're very much looking forward to the Kandinsky Effect, post-jazz, some very progressive post-jazz kind of vibe. And then 2 records from Richard Bennett, I'm seeing on there, right?
Right, same day.
On the same day, yeah.
2 records, which is amazing.
2 different styles, 2 different sides of Richard Bennett.
Great.
One with Indian ragas, I think is the right term. I hope so. No, I think that's the term for the rhythms.
Right.
Hope so. It's on film now. Well, it's not really on film. It's on.
We got a surprise that we're not going to say coming up. That's a nice one.
Well, I'm gonna say this right now. I'm gonna say that Zambi, bless him, Colonel Bruce Hampton, who left us on May 1st or the morning of May 2nd, I believe, of this year, played some local gigs in Atlanta on a regular basis with his band, the Madrid Express, and they have a live recording from one of those, and I believe we have the honor of releasing that. So
there it is.
Keep your ears and eyes on Ropeadope, and
that's great.
It should be rather interesting. So there you go. That's out.
That's amazing. Frank Catalano. We have Christian Scott wrapping up the trilogy. coming out at the in October this year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The Emancipation Proclamation, excited.
The Emancipation
Procrastination.
Oh, I said emancipation. Emancipation.
It's not the whiskey.
Right.
It's not the whiskey.
No, I always get confused like this. I think everybody. I don't want to talk about them right now, but or because I want more information and I want to hear this stuff. But Prince Polo Records, Billy Polo is going to have a couple of reggae things slipping into the mix, both in August and in October. We mentioned Mike Mitchell, Black Dynamite.
Excellent.
Andy Waddell, we mentioned.
Adam Ahuja. Is that coming
We'll talk
out?
about that, and then there's no next year's announcements.
Too soon.
We're really just starting in the cycle of getting set up for next year, and there's some really fun and interesting things in the mix, but. What I don't want to happen is, to have talked about these so much that by the time we get closer, it'll be like old news. So we've got some surprises for you.
Why don't you wrap it up with maybe one or two highlights from our visit with RC and the crew. It was like packed in here.
It was great.
It was awesome.
Great to see all those guys. Cleon Edwards, just a golden. Jonathan Moniz.
I feel like I think me and Jonathan are like brothers. I've seen him like 3 times in the last 3 months, like in 3
that
different
kid's
states.
like he's just wherever stuff is happening, he's right there.
He's there.
Just really wonderful to see those guys, and we're just thrilled. I mean, I'm still kind of my head shaking. Like they came here, they came to visit us, so pretty happy about that.
I love it.
So things are cooking here at Ropeadope. We got a lot happening. We're tired, but we are pressing on. And I do feel like this is the moment. This is the Ropeadope. So we'll be cooking as we come into 2018. But got a lot. I think there's still probably 25 or 30 records. 20 records left for this year. So maybe that.
I gotta get to
maybe
work.
Not.
I gotta get to work.
All right. We're good?
We're great.
Thank you.
Yes.
Episode whatever.
Something.
Thanks for coming by.